Alright, we're going to talk about our severe duty aluminum ply 7-foot walkboard. This is our 7-foot, and we also make a 10, which I'm not going to go into, but it just has an extra rib. Instead of having one rib in the middle, it'll have 2 ribs equally spaced. Okay, this is the main rib on our board. This right here is 092. Most competitive boards, you can't really see it because it's sandwiched between this hook. That's 064. That's I'm talking about thickness of it in inches. So this is approximately 50% thicker than competitive boards. Basically, strength comes from putting extra aluminum in all the right places. We use 14.5 pounds in our board. This board right here, which is what you're going to get with most packages if you order tower packages or order boards from somebody else, if it's a 2-piece hook, this is about 11.5 pounds. So this is 14.5 versus 11.5. Aluminum is expensive, and others try to cut corners, where we try to build the very best product that we possibly can, and then sell it for less because you're dealing with us direct. Alright, the rib. We added material. I studied ribs for over a year. We added material here. We beefed the radius up so if it took a shot, it was less likely to bend something. Also did that on the main rail. You can see an example of a shot, maybe, if the camera will pick it up right here. I'll pull this rib bolt out to explain that in a minute, but when you pull in right here, this is so thin, it's paper thin. This is the little rib hook that goes here. It's so thin, the wall is so thin that even something that small will dent it, as opposed to what we use here at 092. Regarding the hooks, our hook is cut a full, see how thick that is? Our hook is cut a full 1 inch thick. Look at that. And it's a 1-piece unit. It's not 2 pieces. It's not 2 pieces that are sandwiched on here, riveted, which is a cheap way to install it, because then you don't have the cost of the nut, the bolt. I mean, this is a nylon locking nut. You don't have all that. A rivet is very, very cheap, probably ½ cent to a cent in volume. So they rivet it on, and they sandwich, and then they put a rib out here to hold this thing together. It's basically ridiculous. If you drop this from about waist high, you're going to dent this, probably dent this, and then you're going to have to figure out how to disassemble this board, which is riveted together here, and all the plywood is riveted together. It's basically a nightmare. We designed this board to be modular. That means that any piece or part can be changed out in just a few seconds. For something like this, probably under a minute if you've got the right socket, to 10 for the plywood, and maybe 12 to 14 for a main rib, because you got to take the hooks off and whatnot. But let's talk about the hardware. Look at the difference between this competitive screw and our bolt. This is a grade 8.8. We've had it a special bolt built that has very high hardness, tensile strength. I think it's 180, 190,000 psi, whatnot. We use a huge bolt and locking nut. I don't know if you can get from the camera the blue in the zinc, but that means that you've got a very high quality zinc there. The plywood, we use a 7-layer minimum is what we specify. I don't know if you can catch that. 7-layer, and we have just recently switched over to all birch. It has a higher strength than a softwood like pine, which is what most others use, and it has phenolic resin waterproof glue. That means that it'll boil for approximately 72 hours and not come apart. So you get better weatherability, and it just resists it for a longer period of time. But when it does wear out, when it does weather, if you put a hole in it, or you get stucco buildup if you're a stucco contractor, or mortar if you're a mason, all you got to do is come right here with a DeWalt drill, zoop, zip, zip. It's out. Knock this rail off. It's just slotted right there. It pops right off that way. This one pops off that way with a rubber hammer mallet. Put a new piece of plywood in, put those 3 screws back in, and you're ready to go. That is our severe duty aluminum ply board. It has no equal on the market. The certification for the load rating is on the website. It went approximately 11,000 pounds with a 5-point uniform load test, and that meant it been out of spec right here in the middle, right here. I think it's a 2-inch or maybe it's an inch, I'm not sure on the drop, but strongest board on the market for the least amount of money. We sell this board to some of the largest construction companies in the world and some of the largest wholesalers. We use it in all our tire packages, so you can be rest assured you're getting the nicest board on this planet. Thank you.